Yo, whoa. You can still record it though. Get two angles.
Yeah, I'm not going live though, so we make sure we get the
Yeah.
shot.
We don't gotta go live. We go live every damn day on a fucking shit.
About to go live here. Oh, nice. Brian just pushed back our meeting. You got plenty of time, bro.
Oh, do I have do not disturb on? Yep.
Dude, we're gonna fucking blow up with this swag, dude. It's just genius to use the real estate, the tiny houses to funnel everything into the businesses. We're basically gonna create our own Weirman Media client with our businesses, with More Love, Anchor Records, and right, we're gonna funnel it through a better property solution. It makes perfect sense.
God damn it. Sucks having no extension cord. Yeah, man, it makes 100% sense because
And it's the steadiest cash flow as tiny houses and
because
real
you know
estate.
the model works. Everyone else is like they're pussyfooters.
But that allows us to play the long game.
Folks.
That
Good
allows,
morning, folks. We are live here in the Weirman Media Studios, coming to you. Thanks for joining us. Your attention is once again our oxygen. Please take a moment to
How do
keep
you-
the gear, the fresh new More Love gear, folks. It's fresh. It's real fresh. It's top notch. So ultimately, we are getting ready to shoot a episode today. Me and my brother. The episode's gonna be on what, Zaya? It's gonna be on mass debate.
Masturbate. Quick question here. How do I get it to do not disturb?
Under settings, brother.
We're under settings.
Under do not disturb.
Got it. We're going to talk about the masturbate. I had a little technical thing with my phone here, but we are live. Thank you for listening. It sounds like masturbate when the news says it, but we're going to talk about mask debate, and I feel like this is complicated more than it needs to be. And I'm not here to say anyone's wrong or right. I'm not here to say anyone's less than or better than, but I will here to talk about common sense and selfishness and individuality and lack of community and thinking of others when it comes to people that are trying to make this a political issue when it comes to wearing a mask or not. This has nothing to do with politics. This is simple common
I'm sure we're
sense.
both in that frame.
This is simple common sense and courtesy. And if you don't want to wear a mask, that's totally fine. You have the right, but you can't get mad and that you have to wear a mask to go into your favorite store. There's riots and there's people not rioting. There's people protesting the mask, and it's like, come on, man.
Protesting.
Like, come on, dude. Like,
I think it's a great time to look at and audit American, like our selfishness and everything. But ultimately, I want to say your attention is our oxygen, and I want to make it known that we don't think we're right, we don't think we're wrong, we just have our perspective. And at Weirman Media, that's what we share, and that's the value that we're looking to bring forward, is that perspective is what we have, and that as individuals, we all have our own perspectives. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're right, it doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong, it just means you have your experience and your perspective. Nothing makes that right or wrong, and nothing makes that true, only the fashion within yourself that you believe in something makes it true. So like I just want to talk about that and let people know and understand that I'm very passionate, and I come across very like opinionated, and I am, but ultimately I'm passionate and I believe in a lot of the things that I talk about, so I'm gonna be passionate about them. But it doesn't mean I'm right, it doesn't mean I'm wrong, it's just here at Weirman Media, it's our perspective that we share. So I like to make that known. A lot of people might think, oh, he comes across like he thinks he knows everything, but yeah, I just think it's a great topic, this mass debate, and how we can correlate it back to the concepts of Weirman Media, and how everything that we do here is basically in the spiritual and scientific sense. That's what the focus is in, and that's what the focus is on. And if I'm consumed with so much focusing on me, I'm never going to be able to really start to bring value to other people, especially if you ever want to start a business or you want to start a company. You are going to start to really have to make a shift about, oh, is this about me or is this about someone else? Like, why everything I'm doing is really about other people. It's not all about me.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if you look at other countries, that's what the definition of community is looking at my own personal preference, but also taking into consideration my community and caring about my neighbor, caring about my fellow American citizen, caring about and logically analyzing this. And even though I have my own personal feelings, that's fine. You have the right to that. But maybe sacrificing your own personal pivoting your lifestyle a little bit for the greater good of humanity or greater good of your country. That's what community is. You're focusing on a we versus me. Again, we versus me.
Unite versus
But
fight.
if you're not thinking like that, you're only thinking about yourself, and that is selfish. So if you do these things, I think it's important for me. I'll have more respect for people if they can just admit that they're selfish and they don't care.
Exactly.
Like, that's one, I want people to admit that and not come up with a bullshit excuse that you're not wearing a mask because it's your right. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, you know what? That is your right, but admit that you don't care and that you're selfish. That's really what you're saying. Because if you do care and you're selfish, putting on a little mask when you go into a store for 15 minutes is not a big deal. And it's not the government trying to control us forever. If we do this right, a year and a half from now, no one should have to wear masks ever again. But if we don't do that, 2 years from now, we'll still be wearing masks because people aren't fucking wearing masks and listening, and they're not social distancing, and they're still going in large gatherings. Therefore, the virus is going to spread.
There's a great example, Zay, because it's all about our discord and our disconnect.
We don't.
So you're gonna, if people keep being disconnected and having discord, this thing's gonna keep spiking and peaking and spiking and peaking. We need to come together and work on this, get on the same page, so that we can have it sustained.
Yeah,
You're
it's harm
exactly
reduction.
right.
It's not we're going to eliminate it. It's not like the mask will remove the disease. Of course, that's not the solution.
But it's not going to happen unless we work on a systematic level together.
Exactly. It's harm reduction. Just like harm reduction. Like, what people don't understand about that. And secondly, if people don't believe this and they're trying to argue against this point, facts back it up. We have the largest number of cases in the world and deaths, United States. And we're not the largest populated country in the world. By even close. India has way more people than us, and they still have 2 million cases less than us. And they have over 1 billion people in that country.
Exactly.
I mean, if that doesn't show you right there, like, the cases are increasing because there's more testing. I get that. So it's not all because of carelessness, but a large part of that is carelessness. We understood the cases were going to jump because people are getting tested more. Which, one, you shouldn't even be getting tested.
But
Unless you have really severe symptoms. But a large part of it is, and I'm seeing this when I'm going outside, and especially in Duluth here, Canal Park. People are walking around.
Shout out Duluth.
Shout out Duluth. People are walking around Canal
Duluth.
Park. I was out there yesterday because I was delivering food. I wear a mask when I do that. But I stopped taking orders down there because I went down there and I thought it was crazy because everyone's walking around outside. Maybe 20% of people are wearing masks. No one's staying 6 feet apart. And everyone's going into the stores not wearing masks.
It's insane. So that's why I think I'll always.
And then you're having stores that have to tell people to put a mask on because they're not listening to the sign that says put a mask when you go in my store. And they get mad because they act like it's a big deal.
Selfish.
And it's like, it's not a big deal. If you don't want to wear a mask, you have
to go out in public.
You can't. Not even public. You can still wear. You don't have to wear a mask on a walk. We're not saying you have to wear a mask when you're in the country to be free and live about your life. We're saying
but if you're gonna
you want to go in a store, that's it. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to wear one at home. You don't have to wear one when you go on a walk or a run or you exercise outside. In fact, even the gyms aren't forcing you to wear one. If you want to go work out at your gym, the gyms are not forcing you to wear masks.
Totally, it's ridiculous. I just think it's such a great measurement. It's such a great. It's such a great audit of America.
It just shows how people are unwilling to make a little change in their
For others.
little bubble because their little bubble of their life is being changed a little bit.
They don't want to make any little sacrifice for someone else for the greater good of America.
Nope.
It's just like freedom and gun control. Because listen, it's about the sacrificing of a little bit of my freedom or a little bit of my whatever, my selfishness, my.
That's a different debate, though.
But then, no, it isn't. It's the same thing because you're talking about giving up a greater good for the greater good. You're giving up a little bit of your freedom for the greater good. So, like, it's just a conversation that we really need to start talking about is the selfishness of America, and this shines light on it. Because look, we won't even put on a mask to try and help save our fellow Americans, our fellow humans. So, like, if you won't...
And then they want to make it, and then people are making this a political thing, that it's the Democrats and it's socialism, and they're trying to government control.
So a big part of how my brother lives is solution-based. So look at it like this. So if there's a solution to something, why not focus on the solution instead of the problem? So it's just like with guns. When people come together and they're like, all these kids are being slaughtered, why don't we look at, okay, the solution and stop talking about, okay, what the problem is? The solution.
Yeah.
So, like, the solution is where I like to live. And ultimately, if you look at this whole situation with COVID, the solution is being a little more selfless and being a little more about the greater good of humanity and being a little more about other people and their well-being and my impact on them. So I think it's really cool how this shines a light on these situations as to how few people are willing to be selfless to help other people.
It's really, yeah, and I agree with you. And it's really easy. It's like,
super easy.
I don't feel like I'm being controlled. When I do it, I feel like I'm contributing to society and being an active member. And it doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. Like, I can still go to a restaurant if I choose to. It's just I'm going to be 6 feet apart and I'm going to wear a mask. That's not a big change. That just means don't get close to people. Wear a mask if you're going inside in a store and you're interacting with people. So you don't give them the virus, because 80% of people are asymptomatic, folks.
80%. That means the majority of people that get it,
don't even know.
They won't even know.
So you could
won't
be
even
spreading
notice.
the virus by not caring and giving a fuck, and you don't even know. And I'm sorry, if you look at that simple thing, you have to pretend as if you have it.
Always. I've been doing that.
Like, I have the virus probably, and I probably have gotten it. I'm a healthy individual compared to most Americans. I'm maybe about 5 pounds overweight than I want to be. Like, I'm overall
5.
I'm really a healthy guy.
Maybe 5.
And I don't get sick very often. And when I do get sick, I usually don't get that sick because I have a healthy immune system. So I'm probably, and my brother is, we're probably guys that are asymptomatic. So which means we've probably gotten it or have it and could be given it. We're not wearing masks right now live because it's just me and him. He's my brother. We're around each other every day. If we had guests
share saliva. No.
if we had guests coming in, we would have the masks on if they wanted, whatever. So we understand.
Yeah, we use.
So we're not saying we're hypocrites because we're not wearing masks.
We use hand sanitizer
but
all the
we're
time.
we're in our own
office,
personal space,
in our own building.
But if we are to go into another business, me and him, and go get
100%,
food, we'll go to Walmart,
we'll
we're putting masks on.
But in my business, I can choose to not wear a mask.
Exactly, and everyone has the right to do that too. But if a city, for example, Duluth,
exactly,
people are making a big deal that Duluth
community areas.
That Duluth imposed this on the on Duluth.
We're not talking about a community area right here. This isn't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying people are mad that Duluth made this thing.
Yeah.
Minnesota actually, that you have to wear masks to go into stores, and they're just like people are making such a big deal that's their right, and it's like, dude, that makes no sense, and that is the most selfish argument I have ever heard on why you don't want to wear masks. And I'm not calling you a bad human being, but I would at least want you to admit that you're selfish and you don't give a shit. That's why. Because if you aren't selfish and you do care, you would consider the fact that you're probably asymptomatic and that you could be giving it a virus to someone who could get it and who could die because they're not asymptomatic. They have underlying conditions. And then people would say, well, they shouldn't be going out in public. It's like, that's another selfish argument.
Exactly.
You're saying your life's more valuable than theirs, that they shouldn't go out in public, that you could do whatever the fuck you want because you're asymptomatic and it's not going to get you sick. That's another selfish argument when I've heard people say, well, then they should be sitting at home all day.
So this is why
they got to go to the grocery store too, man. They got to go
spiritual
to the
and
Walmart.
scientific, though. This is why I like to correlate everything back to our main key points at Weirman Media. This is such a big deal because it's about spiritual and scientific.
It's about more
principles.
love. That's our swag. See this? This is our swag. More Love Nation.
Spiritual. It's about being of
More
service and
love.
working with others. So if you ever want to have success in life, no matter what you do, right, Zaya?
More love.
No matter what you do in life, if you're the one that brings more love, more compassion, more empathy, and more kindness if you bring all that to the table in any situation, you're going to have a lot more success. Because look at business, for example, especially with business. If you're the one that brings the most value, the most flexibility, the most kindness, the most empathy, and the most compassion, you're going to have the healthiest relationships and the healthiest interactions on a regular basis.
Yeah. And here's the deal. We're not saying, the people that you might feel are calling you out, we're just trying to create dialogue and hopefully bring awareness that you can do an audit and inventory and maybe come to the realization that you thinking that way. We're just hoping to maybe change your perspective and to have you maybe say, maybe I've been overreacting. Maybe
just shine a light on it.
Maybe you can say you overreacted and maybe you will wear a mask. Or maybe at least you admit that you're selfish and you don't care and you're still going to be selfish and not caring and not wear a mask. That's cool too. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but you need to admit it. Like, if I'm selfish and I don't care, I will admit it. If I was one of those people, I would say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do me. I would admit that if that was me.
Exactly.
I wouldn't make up an excuse about trying to make it political, about the government trying to impose their rights and control me and make me be fearful. Because I'm not afraid at all. I'm asymptomatic. I am not afraid of the virus, but I'm aware that I'm probably asymptomatic and I will give it to someone. And I would feel really bad if I bumped into I was interacting with a lady at the grocery store line who's 70.
Like your mom. Picture everyone you go out in public with your mom.
Yeah, someone who's in their 50s.
Or your grandma.
I would feel bad if I interacted with a lady at the grocery store
and I killed someone's grandma.
And then she's dead 2 weeks later because I possibly could have gave it to her because I was within 6 feet and I touched something or I wasn't wearing a mask and then she died. I contributed to her death. by me being careless in a very small thing that affects me. Like, this is very small.
Tolerance for others and compassion for others. It's just remarkable how many Americans, it just shines a light on our selfishness. We feel like we're entitled to, like, it's just remarkable.
Yeah, so that's the problem. So let's bring in the solution on a society level. How can we get Americans to think that way, to adopt a change to community-driven solutions? Like, we're rooted in that philosophy, individuality. And all we need to do is get people to believe in that mindset, that community, and thinking of others and thinking about we versus me is the ultimate way to live. And then we can't leave people behind, and we have to think about everyone when we make decisions. It doesn't mean we're going to live in a perfect country, but if you look at other countries, they have already adopted that mindset.
Exactly.
That's why their countries have scaled the cases down. Like, look at Europe and Italy. Remember how bad Italy was? It's next. Their cases they have it under control.
Next to nothing.
Because they're coming together as a country.
And they're working together.
And look how quickly they've reduced the cases over in European countries.
I just think it's such a cool time to think about this.
And why wouldn't you want to be? This would be so beautiful. Like,
it shows everything, how divided we are. It just shows it all.
I think being together as Americans, we should be proud because we have one of the best countries in the world for many reasons.
I know.
There's no reason we should be this divided.
There's no reason we should be this
People
divided.
are getting too personal with shit, and they're getting. And people don't realize that that's what they want. They don't want us to be united. But this is COVID-19 can be the thing that unites America.
100%.
The pain, suffering that we are going to continue to get is what should unite us. This should be, when we look back on 100 years, the pivotal point in our country where it brings us together from pain and suffering from this.
It makes total sense. If you think about it.
Or it's going to get worse and worse. It's going to require, like my brother said, a worse virus that kills more people before people change. Those are our two options. We can look at this now, or we're going to
learn from it.
Or we're going to look at something. We're going to wait until a virus that has a 10% or 15 or 20% kill rate versus 1%. That's what it's going to take. And right now, it's looking like that's what it's going to take. That a virus with only a 1% death rate, which isn't bad, actually, this should still awaken us.
So I highly recommend people look into the Roaring Twenties, all right? Because Gary Vee talks about this and others do.
Yeah, bring this up. It's great.
Look into the Roaring Twenties. So look at before the Great Depression, we've lived a very comfortable life up until this point. He's got a great point. Things are going to have to get really bad before people really start changing. Because look at the Roaring Twenties and then the Great Depression. Look how people lived. I highly suggest, I just got done reading about some of this, highly suggest diving into the Roaring Twenties and all the great times there were, and then the Great Depression. Because people, look at how they were living during the Great Depression, and start looking at what you're doing in the life you're living, because it's coming. It is coming. This is the beginning. Like, people aren't, like Isaiah just said, if people aren't recognizing this now, it's gonna take a lot, and it's gonna be way worse.
A virus. There's gonna be a virus that hits that could be a 10% death rate. Just imagine 10x.
This is why
Imagine cases and deaths that are 10x of what we're doing right now. It would be 50 million in America that have cases, and it would be how much do we have? It would be 1.7 million dead right now.
So this is why some of the biggest issues in the future you need to look at are affordable housing options and ways to generate income. So that's why at Weeman Media, everything that we're doing is about just this. You can use the technology of the modern day to turn on your cell phone and use your computer, and you can start pursuing your passion for profit and live a life within a minimalistic fashion and have maybe a micro house of 400 square feet or 200 square feet, and now you have everything. Because affordable housing can be a major
Yeah, I
issue.
understand what you're getting into there, but that's a little off topic right now.
It is.
I want to bring it back. Those are good points. My brother's talking about that stuff. And some of those things can be rooted. I think what he brings up there, I'll touch on that. That can lead to community by living a simpler life, allows you to free up time to not be so focusing on working, baby.
And just surviving on yourself.
You'll have more time and less stress to actually be a more community member. That's one thing. That is one of the problems, that we're working so hard and we feel like we need to be like, people work hard for their money, so I get it. But you don't have any time to be a community member because you're just working to survive.
It's the treadmill.
You need time to be a community member. But again, if you look at other countries, they have more time because they don't work so much, so they can be a community member. But it's not got all the public to know.
I don't understand that.
We appreciate you listening, Curtis. We don't understand what you posted, though. If you could rephrase what you said, we appreciate you listening and commenting. Shout out to Curtis for joining in. But I don't know what we couldn't understand what your comment said. So if you could rephrase that,
brother, but
we appreciate you listening. But I want to bring it to you this way, guys.
But that's a great point. What he just talked about is crucial.
But I want to bring it back to the solution, and
that is the solution.
I want to bring it back, though. You guys, please listen. If you've never left this country, It is very clear, and people that don't understand this might think we're over the top, but you don't know until you leave this country or go to Hawaii or go to Australia. Other countries can clearly see. It's just like when you're trying to live a life and you don't have good perspective, and you have someone completely outside of your life giving you insight to how you're living. It's clear that other countries can clearly see that the United States are inconsiderate and selfish. When you go to other countries, they feel that way, and they are justified in that through our actions. Like, I love being America. We have an American flag back here.
I love
But
America.
we have to audit ourselves and realize other countries feel we're inconsiderate and selfish, and they are spot on. If you go there, if you go to Australia and Hawaii and other European countries, I haven't been to Europe yet, but it's way more community driven. Like, if you meet Aussies, they love about their community. Aussies are about being Aussies and community driven.
Yeah.
They're all about the community in Australia. It's beautiful. You've lived there. What was your experience? The Aussies, a very community country.
100%, but Hawaii is the greatest example.
Hawaii is the greatest example. Aloha love and the Hawaiian way spirituality.
And Ohana and family
is
and
all
the
about
land.
community first and land and everything.
It's all about the land, the unity, the collaboration.
It is the greatest example of a state in the United States of America that people need to adopt and live like Hawaii.
It's all about how you can support each other, how you can not judge each other, how you can work together to make everything work, and how you can respect the land and respect your fellow human. So it's like basically common sense. And Isaiah just hit it on the head. One of the number one things to do is to get people's perspective. And everyone in America thinks that we think we have all the answers.
It's
we don't,
biased.
We won't take anyone's outside perspective and then audit.
And then we get mad and we have to hate other countries, and they're not even trying to be mean to us. They're taking auditing our inventory.
So we should
They're
be-
like, guys, it'd just be like my homie and my friend coming up to me or my brother. Maybe he's watching my life,
Exactly.
and he's saying, dude, Isaac, you're really being inconsiderate and selfish with your life right now. And it's like, how dare you say that?
It's all about lacking.
That's how we are, but that's how people are. Like, how dare you say something honest to me
How dare
and
you?
have you look yourself in the
How
mirror
dare
about your
you?
selfishness and inconsiderateness? It's like, and other countries see it, and it's like when you go to other places, like when we lived in Hawaii, he has multiple stints in Hawaii, it's so clear. The diverse culture, when you go move to a diverse culture that's community driven, you see it and you begin to experience it, and it has an effect on you.
It
Very
changes
positive.
everything.
It's very positive.
I highly
There's nothing
recommend
wrong.
it to
It's
everyone.
super positive.
I highly recommend everyone books a ticket to Hawaii.
Yep.
For at least 30 days.
Well,
60
not right
days.
now, but not right now.
Yeah, it's shut down.
They don't want
actually.
Hawaii.
Actually, Hawaii's is shut down. They just shut the beaches down on August 8th.
Yeah.
I pay attention to Hawaii.
Yeah, they shut down again. Their governor made it, which was smart. It was on Oahu because they have the most cases.
Well, let's face it,
Shout out-
Hawaii's unique. Yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out Hawaii. Shout out Oahu.
Shout out to all Isaiah's friends in
We love
Oahu.
you guys. You guys, man, like Hawaii is where it's at. It's a model for, how other states should live with the community driven.
Curtis just said it's not information that people in power want the masses to know, and that's exactly why we're starting Weirman Media.
Exactly, Curtis. Thank you. You're
That's
right.
why guys like us and you were challenging other business owners and people to start sharing, because that's how we bring a voice to to this. Curtis, that's what the challenge is, brother. I challenge you. It sounds crazy, but I challenge you to start sharing your story. And by sharing your story and on a podcast and sharing it and being vulnerable and authentic, you're going to start to see these truths come out and these realities and the unity that comes from it. That's exactly why, Curtis. That's a great point. That's a great question. I appreciate your attention. It's a big
Yeah,
part
and
of
he's right. That's why all the main media keep focusing and call it the mass debate. They're purposely calling it a mass
They don't
debate.
want us to unite. They don't want us to
But
get
that
along.
title creates it. They're calling it a debate.
Exactly. It should be just dialogue.
That's division right there in that title.
But this is what I want to say. Our
They can't just
leadership-
say the mass conversation.
If you look at the leaders of America, they have failed us. Leadership, I suggest we start auditing the leaders and the people we find direction from, because that's what's failing us ultimately.
All of our political leaders are failing
at the
us.
top of this, like he just said, Isaac just said, Zaya just said it. We have the leaders. How do you expect a guy like Donald Trump to have healthy relationships with the world? He can't. Donald Trump is unhealthy. He's egotistical. He is selfish. He is not capable of having healthy leadership interactions with other countries.
Yeah, and we're not even saying he's a piece of crap. We're not Trump
No,
haters.
I am not a Trump hater.
Well, he does lack
I'm purple.
He lacks leadership skills.
It's
We're
just a
not.
fact.
We're
It's just
not.
a fact.
Yeah, we're not
It's a
saying he's a
reality.
horrible business person either, and we're not even saying he's a piece of shit racist like a lot of people say and he should die. Like we don't hate like that.
I like to
we're
come-
about more love, but
more
we do,
love, so
but
I
we
come
do
at
believe lack of leadership is a root cause of our situation, and Trump being the president
Is a great
has
example.
to take responsibility for the lack of leadership. And we're not even saying he's handled the situation horribly. He has done some good things.
I'm just saying, if we want to have healthy relationships,
It
as a
starts with
country,
leadership and
it
politics.
starts with positive, healthy relationships at the
in
top.
our political system.
And we don't have those.
Nope. I mean, they can't even get a stimulus package locked in right now.
You have people and children starving, people that can't even go back to school, and they can't even agree to a stimulus package.
That just shows you the division among our political leaders. So it makes sense if our politics is divided that our country will.
If we can't be united within our country, we're never going to have any kind of chance outside of our country. It's just like something, if I don't have something, I can't give it. I have to have it to give it. So like Zaya talks about this stuff all the time, like in stuff in life.
You
that
can't transmute what you don't have. You have to live life through attraction and through action.
Yes,
Shout
well, I
out for
can't-
Jimmy Lee Langhoff. You are a loyal follower. Jimmy, we'd like to give you some swag, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy, I got
some
some. We
swag.
got juice. We bring the juice. Jimmy Lee Langhoff, shout out. That's my homie. He said, "Nice heart. Wear your damn mask. We love you, Jimmy. We got more love. I love you, Jimmy. We got some swag, Jimmy. We'd like to give you some swag.
We got swag for all you.
Comment, Jimmy, that you want some more love swag, and we'll send you some more love swag. You let us know what you want, and we got you.
But ultimately, if we start having people that are in politics that come from compassion, love, empathy, open-mindedness, humility, and these innovative ideas and concepts, you'll start to see this change. But it's really interesting that how many people aren't willing to go there and aren't willing to bring innovation to politics.
And not only that, people need to stop being so emotional and taking everything personal on both sides, left and right. Like this, we're handling this in a very neutral standpoint,
purple.
logical.
I'm a fan of both blue and red.
That's what I'm saying. People on both sides of the spectrum are so far at the end, and they're
It's
so
a way of dividing.
they're so brainwashed with
It's
each
how
party.
you get divided. That's how they keep you
Like
where you are,
we
folks.
don't need to do that, people. We need to come together, and it's okay to disagree on certain topics and philosophical perspectives.
100%.
And you can still respect someone. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to agree.
And you can still be-
But it starts with an honest dialogue and an honest inventory of what we're talking about. And this mass debate is by far the perfect thing that is relevant in our lives right now. And there is nothing more important that's affecting us every day than this simple task and this simple thing that I see every day that is such a big deal to people, and it's not. This is going to be going on for the next year. We'll probably
I disagree. I think what we are seeing is permanent. This
Well,
is
okay,
gonna be,
it is permanent, but what I'm
these
saying,
effects are going to be permanent.
I agree, but I'm saying the mass debate is going to keep going on for a year, even though it should.
But
like,
this isn't going to go anywhere.
I hope not. I mean, I hope so, but apparently my brother just says it's not going to go anywhere. So it looks like that the mass debate, according to him, is not going to go anywhere, and that people.
Well, I mean, this is going to be here. I mean, people say that and they're like, "Oh, this is going to go away. This is going to." It's here.
yeah, I know.
It's happening. It's here.
I mean, they're going to have to keep the law enforced for a long time because apparently people are still on following it.
yeah, and you can't expect.
So the reality is, this is what's probably going to happen. My brother's right. Probably what's going to happen. Let's just call it right now, like we see a spade a spade. Unfortunately, we're going to continue to remain divided.
Division.
Especially with the election coming up, it's going to push people even further apart. And the mass debate is still going to be at the center of that. And that's going to continue on and on. There's going to be more pain and suffering, more COVID cases, more deaths. And we look at the other countries in the world, we're going to end up having the most by far. It's going to be really sad.
It makes sense though.
In fact, right now, sports are going to have to be canceled because of this. They launched,
Or at least no audience.
They launched college football. They had an emergency meeting in college football on ESPN last night. I was reading about it that they're going to have to maybe cancel college football altogether because it's getting worse and worse. Example is your actions by not wearing a mask is going to lead to more things being canceled. There's going to be more negative effects. Football stadiums are probably not going to be able to have football stadiums. Can you think about if they allow people into stadiums even and people are still trying to fight wearing masks? It's going to get worse.
People are just delusional.
And that's because people are selfish because they want to be able to go to their football game like
without
they
a mask.
It's like, sorry, watch football on TV the rest
1
of the season.
year. So I've had periods of
That's
my
another
time.
example. That's what's going to be. People are
So
so...
I've had times in my
I
life.
got season Vikings tickets. I want to go to the game.
Like,
Fuck COVID.
I'm honest with people. Like, I've had periods in my life where I've made mistakes and had to sit and think. Guess what? And hit pause. And guess what? That's what I did. I've had trouble in my life. I made mistakes, and I had to sit in silent and have lots of time to do so. This is an inference. catch where I'm going with this, and I had to realize what was going on in my life and why I was fucking up, where I was, why I was there.
Or the harm I was causing.
Exactly. And I
The
had to
harm
find-
is inventorying your harm that you're causing. And the thing about it is people don't believe it because you're asymptomatic. But no, you are causing harm. You have to assume you have it.
I just can't believe how divided we are. But
And then people want to believe that it's a hoax. There are people who are saying that is them trying to control you, that it's not really true. It's like, bro, go to a hospital. Please find someone that's a nurse or a doctor that you know and talk to them. And they will tell you it's real. I have an aunt who's a physician's assistant. I'm telling you,
here's the
it's
thing.
real. Talk to people that are healthcare workers on the front line. They'll tell you it's not a hoax. The hospital,
Here's the funny thing. The people that say that, they don't even realize they are controlled. This is the funny thing.
because they're believing media, the people that say that. Yeah.
Exactly. They don't even
They're
realize
not looking
it.
at something logically.
America does control a lot of people with the media and and other things. The photo, the video, and the written word.
I agree.
The people that say that, oh, they're trying to control me, guess what? They don't even realize that the majority of those people that are saying that are actually puppets of the American system. They are controlled by the
But then
consumerism.
they're so
They are
far. They're saying these stats are made up. The WHO, like all this made up. How can they prove that we have that many stats and that many
You
deaths?
can say that about anything.
But here's the deal. The WHO, the World Health Organization that Trump was trying to get us from, is a clear sign that they're not the World Health Organization, WHO, is one of the most liable sources for health information in the world.
Bill Gates is a big part of it. He donates tons of money.
Trump was trying to get away from that because he didn't like all the stats they were saying about the U.S. because it's making us and him look bad.
Here's a great example. Once
Sorry,
we have,
Trump,
Once we
but-
have guys like Bill Gates in office over guys like Trump, that's when you're going to start to see drastic change. And
Bill,
success.
and we'll talk about this once again.
If
we talk
guys
about,
like Bill Gates could be in president, why aren't they?
and here's the deal: Bill Gates predicted this, and he's going to predict it again.
He called it in a TED Talk 7 to 8 years ago,
That we're going to have a virus and a
and no one listened.
and,
No one.
And yes, he is part of vaccines, so people want to look into that and say that.
Of
oh,
course, I would be too. Once I'm rich, if I could start doing shit to help save the world.
And then there's people that are against vaccines. They think they're not real, they're not effective. There's no proof of it. So that's a different discussion. That is. But the reality is, whether you believe in vaccine or not, you have to believe that your small action of wearing a mask when you go into a public store and staying 6 feet apart and minimizing your activity in mass settings and changing your lifestyle and being at home a little bit more is having a great positive impact on society.
And Isaac touched on it earlier. He mentioned how with Zoom, throughout this process, he's learned how you can still stay connected. Why don't you look at the positive?
Dude, you can stay super connected through social media.
Look at, you can do this, what we're doing. Get yourself a microphone and get yourself a simple audio interface. And now launch your podcast and start talking to hundreds of...
You can still stay connected with your family through this stuff. You can
Exactly.
You can have phone
But
conversations.
here's a great example. You can do exactly what we're doing. If you want to start a podcast, I have people in Europe streaming, and the Recovery Atheist has people in Europe streaming. And what else can you do where you feel like you're connected to people like this? I feel connected. I can talk to people, share my story, and I can hear your questions, your feedback. It's just a great example.
Yeah.
It's a great time to look at the things that you can connect with people. Everyone's like, oh, it's just all about ego. It's just so interesting how much ego is coming through COVID. COVID is showing all of America's ego.
Yeah, and you know, we hit on this.
It's beating a dead horse.
Yeah, we're beating a dead horse here, so we'll wrap this up. But like,
So I just think
we're
the
gonna sum it
solution-
up is we're asking you to have a possible open mind to a different perspective at looking at it. We're asking you to do an audit and inventory
Exactly.
to see how much you really have to change your life to do this, and at least admit if you're unwilling to change that you're selfish and you don't care. We're just asking you to have that open mind and have that dialogue, not make this a debate about politics.
Make it
Not-
about you. Make
make
it about
this
me.
about a simple.
Look at myself.
Yeah, just make this about a simple
Stop
thing,
making-
about an honest inventory, and ask yourself: is it really a big deal
Audit me.
for me to do this?
Is it really the end of the world?
Like,
for
is
me?
it really the end of the world for you to stay 6 feet apart and wear a mask when you go into a store? We're not saying you need to wear one when you're at home.
We're
We're
not
not saying you
saying-
need to wear one in your backyard.
Or if you have your own business and
Or-
you're in your business
and
place,
you're choosing to not wear a mask in your own store in your back office, or even asking you to wear one when you go on a run outside. But we
Etc.
are asking you that if you want to go into your local community
anything that's a local community
that has a sign saying wear a mask, and you're choosing to get pissed because you have to wear a mask, that simple thing that we're asking you to be like, wow, is that really a big fucking deal?
it's a great point.
It's
there.
not.
I think Isaiah is killing it, and I think
It's
he's
so
a great
simple.
Point. It's
And
so
then just
simple.
be like, and I'm asking you to be like, Wow, man, I'm taking myself too seriously. I need to lighten up.
Have
Just
some fun.
put a little mask on.
Make your own mask.
Exactly. Make your own mask. Make it cool, and just be like, wow, am I really afraid? No, I'm not afraid. Am I really feel like I'm being controlled? No, I'm feeling like I'm contributing to my local community, and that's it.
That's a
And
big
then
part.
realize that you're probably taking shit too seriously if you're trying to protest about this. When there's a dozen issues in this country that we could say that are way more worth protesting over a mask debate that you have to wear a mask. Like, it is a little over the top.
I just think it's tolerance of others.
And if you do all of that and you come to the conclusion that you still don't care, admit you don't care and admit you're selfish, and I'll have more respect for you. I'd be like, all right, cool. At least you're admitting that. But at the end of the day, by you doing that, you're risking giving someone else the virus and them dying.
and then you
And
say
if
you don't care.
and if you realize you still don't care,
that's
fucked
pretty
up.
heavy.
That's fucked up.
That's
and
why
if
when-
that's the case, that shows the true colors of the
America.
selfishness of Americans.
If we don't
And
give a fuck.
and if you don't give a fuck, and there's a reason why other countries then that proves why they say you're inconsiderate and selfish. When other countries across the world are coming together as a community to limit and reduce the harm that COVID has on their fellow Americans, because they have philosophized. Citizens, they philosophized in community. Hawaii is a great example of that. Again, we'll sum it up, is a great state to practice that. They just shut down again because they care. They don't have as many cases in Minnesota or other states, but they have already done a shutdown because the Hawaii is driven in community first individuals. We're not saying Hawaii is the perfect state, that there's still issues that go on there.
But they're a lot more community.
But they're a lot
community-based.
more community-based, more love, aloha-based.
Aloha.
Our brand, More Love, was rooted from our experience in Hawaii. We created More Love Nation, and if you go to our website, it has Hawaii pictures and themes.
Yeah, correlate this
because
all to
we,
what you're talking
because
about.
we had that profound experience from me and my brother to moving to Hawaii and experiencing aloha love. Like when we moved there, and you go there and you're your first day on the island and you're lost and you don't know like what the liki what's going on
Like.
you don't know what street, how to pronounce the names. You ask someone, a local Hawaiian, and they're gonna be like, "What's your name, brother?"
And they'll, give
And
you
they'll be
anything.
like, "What's your name, brother?" And they say, "You go up Wailea, yeah. You make a left there." And they'll start asking you, who you from there? I'm from Minnesota, yeah. You from Minnesota,
Oh, you
yeah?
know that snow?
Oh, the
yeah.
snow up there, yeah, brother. What, you need a sandwich, brother? I'll buy you a sandwich, brother. Come over. I live up there, Wailea, yeah, brother. Come over. We're gonna do some music tonight at the
At the studio in
No,
Penthouse.
what's that place called?
You talking about the building downtown?
What's that joint where they play music at? Hawaiian Brian.
Hawaiian Brian's.
They come up to Hawaiian Brian,
Hawaiian
brother.
Brian's is a
Come
great.
up, brother. And then within a day or two, you just found a new brother.
Hawaiian Brian's. You're
And they're
right.
letting on a white holly come from the mainland, and I respect them, and they teach me about
If you
ohana
respect-
and aloha love, and I'm like, holy shit, I have never met people so nice in my damn life.
Literally, there's people there that will take you in their home. I've had it
Yes.
happen. I've lived with people where I was in a situation where I needed a place to stay, and they would literally let me live with them. There was a pilot.
I've done cold call knocking on doors in the mainland in Colorado, Minnesota, and when I did that in Hawaii, I've never met so many people that you're a cold calling salesman. I've done it in states like Colorado and other places where they tell you to fuck off. In Hawaii, you're knocking on their door as a cold call salesman trying to sell them something, and next thing you know, they notice you're sweating and they're talking to you, offering you water, and be like, "No, we don't want your product. We're not trying to buy."
But here's a water.
Here's a water. And they start asking you like, "Why are you doing this? What made you do here? Or where are you from?" They start acting like you're your family, and like that type of philosophy needs to be rooted and acted in every state throughout
So
the
this
United
is
States.
why I believe so
And that's
much.
why we created
This
More
is
Love.
why I'm going to be rocking the gear from this point forward.
For
You're
More
gonna,
Love
when
Us.
I go live, you're going to see me on it. Because listen, when hate is loud, love
Needs to be
loud.
louder.
And when there's people that are divided and fighting and angry and painful, guess what? Guess what? The
Love
one-
needs to be louder.
Guess what? Isaiah's so.
And what we're saying might not sound like love, but it's called tough love. Love is giving people honest feedback. People that love me are
is-
gonna call
exactly.
me. They're gonna call
That's
you
why
out
you-
on your bullshit.
That's why
that's
they're
what
there
love
for
is.
you. They love you. They care about
So that's
you.
what we're saying. So that's part of it, is calling people out on their bullshit. That's love. But also not hating on those people and making them bad humans. We're just trying to bring awareness and show you love, and then bring people together that we can move beyond that division and get people to hold themselves accountable and then be united. Even if we disagree on small issues, we still need to come together. And that's the aloha love in the
That's
ohana.
what's so beautiful about the timing.
That
of
we're all
living
family.
media.
That's we're all family. Like, right? They say ohana.
Every human, not just
That's
nation.
More Love Nation, which
We
means
should
one
remove-
nation under the entire planet of the world.
All
One
the
nation.
we're all humans.
We're all humans under one planet. That's our nation. So we need a more love nation, and that's rooted in our experience in Hawaii. That we will eventually be back there someday. Me and my brother. Right now we're in Duluth.
And it's rooted in everything else that we believe in. Because listen, for everything that we talk about to work, and for people to start coming together, and for us to start having success, for us to start sustaining and innovating as not only a species but as a nation and a world, you have to start. People, it's the solution to everything. Isaac, in this clothing brand is phenomenal. It's ridiculous how good it is because listen, the number one solution to every problem is compassion, empathy, kindness, love, and
unity.
You won't fail from that. There's no problem that can't solve. If you have a group of people that come together and they all
and it can be handled this way. Like it can be handled this way.
There's no solution.
And this is how you live it. Like we're talking about Trump. We're not hating on him.
We're not.
We're just giving him our honest inventory on some of his actions.
There's lots of stuff Trump does I agree with and disagree with.
But we're not saying he's a bad human. We're taking an honest inventory of our president. We're taking an honest inventory of our leadership in politics and our fellow American citizens that we interact with every day.
And it's failing us. The leadership is failing us.
And we're just asking people to start dialogue without making it a debate, without making it hate.
Like Curtis said,
and making it honest conversation that we can have that can bring love and bring unity. And that's what we're representing here at Weirman Media, at Two Brothers TV, at More Love Nation, at whatever else we end up creating. We're just humans that have a mission, and we're using a brand to bring awareness, to connect. And if you wear these shirts, it means that's what we represent. So we want people to wear these things, these shirts, to represent that. So if you're doing that, you're representing that.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we do it. It's about different forms of creativity and different forms of expression. And now we have all these different avenues that we're starting to use these different art avenues, digital art avenues, as well as clothing line, as well as digital art, whatever it is. We're using creativity to share the message and share what we believe in and do what we believe in and do good with these platforms, because that's what it's all about. And Curtis hit it on the head. This is how you bring voices to things. This is how you bring dialogue to things. This is how you bring truth. Bring your truth forward. That's what we're doing here. I'm challenging myself to share my truth, my reality. What is that saying, Zaya? Speak your truth.
Film your hustle and speak your truth.
Film your hustle and speak your truth.
I will have swag eventually with that quote, with a collab with the More Love on there. So that's
film your hustle, speak your truth.
That was inspired by Gary Vee. So film your hustle and speak your truth means whatever you're doing, how you brand yourself is filming your hustle.
Share it. Be more authentic and vulnerable.
When we're talking about providing value at scale,
being
whatever you do every day, film it.
Be authentic and vulnerable.
And then when you're talking and speaking, by sharing your story and sharing your perspective, you're merely in your vulnerability. You're just speaking your truth. You're speaking your truth.
That's so powerful.
And listen, it is. And that might be in their perspective, and also that's what we're bringing to light. Your truth, that might honestly be that person's truth, that they believe that their right is infringed. And you have the right to have that perspective and bring your truth. But you also need to know that that's what we want you to do, but we want you to be open-minded that your truth necessarily isn't the most selfish thing or healthy thing. I've had to admit that my truth and my active addiction at that time wasn't healthy and was selfish.
Exactly.
I can look back on that and admit that at that moment, my truth wasn't healthy and it was selfish. So sometimes, and that's where awakening and growth happens, it's like, holy shit, my perspective was skewed towards my selfishness and my unhealthiness. And we have to admit that. That's how we can slowly audit ourselves and optimize our health, our selflessness, our happiness, our compassion, our unity. But it doesn't start if we're not willing to have dialogue without bringing hate and debate to it. Remove the debate, remove the hate, and start with love and dialogue. That's what this is all about. We're summing this up. So we talked about a lot of stuff. I think we gave enough.
That's great work, Zaya. That's a great way of wrapping it up. So ultimately, that's what the talk was about today. That's what the episode is. That's everything that we kind of are about here at Weirman Media.
Again, when hate is loud, love must be louder.
So once again, your attention is our oxygen. Fast, fluid, flexible content creation for the modern day. This is our perspective. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's our perspective.
Thank you for listening. We love you guys. Follow me at Isaiah Soul on all my platforms to chat more and connect. If you want more love swag, go to morelovenation.com. We'd love to give to contribute to and support this cause.
With the pledge, you can get on the show.
And if you pledge and donate money for More Love Nation for swag, you can get on the show. We're gonna give swag away to people.
For everyone that donates.
For their donates. Jimmy Lee Langhoff, I got swag coming for you, brother. You represent love so much. You're a great heart. Thank you for listening, Curtis. You're a real G. We appreciate you commenting and following. We'd love to have you both on the show at some point if you guys are willing to come on here and share your story, because I know you both personally, and you guys have great stories to share and how you've overcame your own struggles to become active, healthy, contributing members to this country that I stand up for, and I believe you and love you guys as my friends. So thank you.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Your attention is our oxygen, and we value your attention more than anything.
You get Jimmy on here, that guy. That was a great episode.
Yeah, it's solid, man. Solid sauce.
You get it on your phone?
Yeah.
I got mine. I just did straight camera though.
I did 44 minutes.
You got it?
Yeah. Finally. Shit ton of content now.
Dude, with our swag, dude, because now we can bring it back to that, and we're in media. We got two things to bring it back to. I'm taking this off because this is your shirt.
You can keep it if you want.
No, man, this is your shirt, bro.
Yeah, it is mine.
I got a bunch of swag coming. I want you to keep your swag. This is your swag.
I'm giving most of that stuff as inventory, besides the blue.
I don't want to wear this right now. It's too big. I need to wash it.
These 2XLs for
I wanted to wear it the rest of my day, but it's too big. I need to wash the shirt before I wear it.
These are donations right here. So if you want to give them as donations, I got all the XLs are going to be for donating.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need snapbacks that match each hoodie.
I want a black one. And yeah, man, I want a gray one too.
So here's the deal. We need matching sweatpants for each outfit because you got to have the whole outfit.
Yeah, I know.
Otherwise, because look, we could be wearing sweatpants that are just all you need is white sweatpants with the logo on it.
I know, man. I know.
So there's joggers on there, but I want to just make them joggers that are.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be done spending money on other brands.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
I know. That's why I loved it when I had a movie. I was like, fuck, I don't want to wear other people's business anymore.
Look at Kanye West, man. He just wears his own stuff. And personally, I like wearing workout swag most of the time anyways as loose. I don't want to wear jeans. Jeans are uncomfortable. Fuck jeans. I want to wear sweatshirts, t-shirts, and gym gear 24/7.
Where'd you put those receipts? I'm gonna make content with those. The receipts from the clothing?
They're right in there. They should be right in the pile. The boxes. Don't do anything with them. Put them in there? No, I haven't done anything. I haven't got it. You over there on the table? Not in there, huh?
cool if these were in recyclable stuff, but everything's recyclable besides the. Yeah, the receipts aren't here, man. Curtis Goring doesn't know how. I think he's dyslexic. That's why I've had conversations with him before where he struggles to.
That's dyslexic is more common than people realize.
Yeah, he struggles to.
Doesn't mean you're stupid. You can be really intelligent and still be dyslexic.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot harder.
When it comes to formulating sentences written. Huh.
We got 1, 2, 3 shirts to give away.
Oh, there they are. I'm gonna go head up to this office here pretty soon. Then I gotta go to Sam's Club.
We should do an episode where you do a Q&A at some point where you just answer your like favorite books or favorite quotes.
Oh yeah. I can get that ready for you.
Comes from North Carolina, eh?
I'm gonna get a handsome one.
The problem is I'm not that great with that online streaming yet, but I can figure it. I have it ready. It's just gonna be, it's gonna be trucky. It's gonna be goofy at first because you're gonna have hiccups. You know what I'm saying? When you're gonna go live, it's gonna be like, oh,